Hey guys, welcome you all in T3P Technology to the Point. If you are looking for some quick tips on how to get the most out of Microsoft Azure, you have come to the right place. And in this video, I'm going to share some favorite tips and tricks for working with Microsoft Azure that will help you to understand where you need to use which service and which are the management services and the core services can help you for what purpose. So let's talk about the first service we are having in this video, that is Azure Portal. See, what exactly the Azure Portal is? Azure Portal is a GUI platform which is web-based, and it's the alternative of our CLI platforms. As you know, we can access the services which is in the Microsoft Azure multiple way, like through the console, through the CLI platform, or through the API. So this is the one which we can use to manage the resources. So we should use Azure Portal to manage your resources, and this portal provides us a convenient way to manage our resources, and also we can keep the track of our services or resources usage. So that will help us to understand the predictability about the cost and all. So this is the best tool to use it as much as we can use it. Also we can use the CLI platform and the API, but the best one what I found in Microsoft Azure is Azure Portal. Next service is Azure Resource Manager. If we will talk about in short what exactly the Azure Resource Manager is, it is also known as ARM and is the deployment and management service for the Microsoft Azure. So we can use the ARM to create and manage our resources, and it provides a consistent way to manage our resources, making it easier to deploy and manage our applications. Okay, so in case you are not using ARM, you are missing out of some of the best feature which is provided by Microsoft Azure, and Azure Resource Manager provides us a way to manage our Azure resources in a logical group. So we can use Resource Manager to deploy, update and delete our resources in a single operation. So that's why it is one of the best feature we can say, or the best service which is provided by Microsoft Azure. Now let's talk about the next one, that is Azure Resource Tags. What exactly the tags are? Tags are the text which we define for any resource which is available in Microsoft Azure, or alternatively we say is a metadata elements which we define, or it's kind of an attribute of our Azure resources. So we use Azure Resource Tags for tagging purpose. That means we can tag our resources. That is a great way to keep the track of them. So we can use tags to categorize our resources, like which resource belongs to which department, which resource belongs to which team. We can define it accordingly, and then we can use the Azure Portal to filter by the tags. So we can easily separate or distinguish the resources based on the tags, and tags can also be used in Azure Resource Manager template to control which resources are need to be deployed. So this is about the Azure Resource Tag. Next service we are talking about, that is Azure Policy. So it's, as you know, the policy is always used to make some standard in our organization. Similarly, Azure Policy evaluates resources in Microsoft Azure by comparing the properties of those resources according to the business rules that we define for our organization. So Azure Policy is a great way to enforce compliance in our Azure environment. With the Azure Policy, we can define a set of rules that all our resources must comply with. If a resource violate a rule, Azure Policy can automatically disable that particular resource and notify us, so that we can take corrective action which is required to work for that particular resource. Now I'll talk about the next service, which is Azure Virtual Machines. What exactly it is? It's like a simple machine, or we can say the virtual server, and it's based on the template or the image which is provided by, it can be Linux, it can be Windows, it can be Linux, or it can be Windows platform, whatever it will be. It's kind of a computing resource which we use normally to host our application. So we use Azure Virtual Machine to deploy and manage our virtual machines, and virtual machines provides a convenient way to deploy and manage our workloads like application in the cloud. Next service we are having Azure Active Directory. So what exactly it is? It is mainly used to provide the SSO, that is single sign-on multi-factor authentication, and it can be used for the conditional access, so we can protect our environment resources from the cyber security attacks or from the hackers. So we use Azure Active Directory to manage our IAM, that is identity and access management, and it's like a uh, also, Active Directory provides a centralized way to manage our identity and access, and it's make it easier to secure our resources. Now I'll talk about the next service, that is Azure Storage. So what exactly the Azure Storage? It's like a storage in the cloud. It is provided by the Microsoft Azure, so it's known as a Azure Storage. If we'll talk about the usage of Azure Storage, we can use Azure Storage to store our data. Azure Storage is a cost-effective way to store data and provide high availability and the durability in the cloud. That is what we used it. Okay, so it can be used for our application data. It can be used for different type of data which we want to keep or store. Next service we are having Azure Monitor service. So what exactly it is? Azure Monitor collects the monitoring telemetry from a variety of on-premises and the Azure resources. So Azure Monitor, we can use it for the resources which is in the cloud or in our on-premises. So where we can use it? We can use Azure Monitor to monitor our resources, and this provides us the insights into our resource usage and the performance, so we can take care of the things as per the report we get it. Next thing we are having Azure Automation. So if we'll talk about the Azure Automation, it's like, if you know the AWS option, it's similar to that one, and Azure Automation delivers a cloud-based automation. It can help us to update the operating system and the configuration services that supports consistent management across our Azure and non-Azure environment. So not only it works for the Azure resources but also non-Azure resources as well. So we use Azure Automation to automate our tasks, and automation can help us to save time and effort by automating our tasks. And we know when we save the time for our organization, we are also saving the cost as well. So guys, that's it in this video. I hope you find the content of this video helpful and it help you to learn quickly these services. In the next video I'll cover more services. Till then, happy learning. See you in next video.